Go.
Hi, friends. How are you? It's been a while since we've been together, but I'm glad you're back. Today we're going to talk about inside voices. Not like schizophrenic type inside voices, but what we think about when we're talking to somebody, or we want to talk to somebody, we've got something to say, or you get the idea. The voices inside our head, our own self. We're going to talk about that today. Keeping the inside voices inside and the outside voices coming out. Because it's so easy to think things. We all think things. But I guess the object of the game is to not let our thoughts come out, because sometimes our thoughts are not so helpful, not so friendly. They can be hurtful. We might think that our humor is being funny, and the next person. I had a friend of mine, it snowballed out. I still don't quite understand what happened. My friend sent me a text message, which I didn't know that it was from my friend, and I didn't understand what it was, and so I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to my friend. I said, "Is this you?" My friend told me, "No, this isn't me." And I said, "Well, this we can't do this, no." And it was just, it got twisted and turned, and it turned into a huge fiasco. And I'm sure you can understand that. You have to be careful what you say to people. You have to be careful what comes out of your mouth. So today we are going to deep dive into Proverbs. You know, Proverbs it's a good book in the Bible, because Proverbs tells us what we're supposed to do and what the consequences are if we don't. So you got to give God a lot of credit. He gave us the book, the Bible. We've discussed the Bible before over time. We've talked about how the Bible is it's almost like our blueprint, our outline for life. Some people say that life has no rules, but we actually do. We have the Bible. And those of us who choose not to want to be listening to how we should live dismiss the Bible. I was listening to this little shorts, they call them shorts, on YouTube, and this young woman got right up into this man's face and started screaming at him, "I need to know 100% that Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead." Now, in all reality, each one of us, you, me, the guy sitting next to you, the people in the room here with me, we don't know that happened. We weren't there. We're hearing it secondhand, third hand, fourth hand. It's a learned truth that we've learned, but there isn't anybody nowadays who can say, "I saw it, I was there, I witnessed it firsthand." And that's what we talk about when we say we have faith, because that's what we have inside, our faith. I know that Jesus lived, died, rose again, sitting up there with the Father, because it was told to me in the Bible. It was taught to me throughout my youth, throughout my life. It's something that I know. I've had enough encounters with God to know that He is there and He's real. So unlike the woman who started screaming that she needs 100% proof, many of us don't. But we still need help along the way to keep the inside voices in here. And sometimes that's hard. And for myself, I have to say to myself, are you using your inside voice or using your outside voice? And I say that to some people, don't use your inside voice, because our inside voice is very ugly. It's very blunt, it's very bold, it's very opinionated, and we all have them. But you got to keep it up in here. So let's open up and look at Proverbs 15. We're going to jump into Proverbs 15, and we're going to go through verses 1 through 9 tonight and see what God has to say about our inside voice. 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Now we know that. Let's think of a for instance. Okay, here, we're in the grocery store. I was in the grocery store the other day, and there's this couple there, the man and the wife, and they're a little bit older, and they're both in their scooters. They both had those Walmart carts, and I'm pushing my basket on down the aisleway, and the woman, she first she bumped into my cart, and she didn't say anything. No, I'm sorry, or oops, or nothing. And I just kind of looked at her and thought, it didn't come out, I didn't use my outside voice, but I thought to myself, lady, learn how to work that cart, because you just put the cart into the back of my legs. I almost fell over. And I mean, come on. And I had all these thoughts in my head. I wanted to turn around, tell her, learn to drive. I wanted to turn around, tell her, you just hit me again. I wanted to turn around and tell her she shouldn't be in a cart if she doesn't know how to use it. I had all of these thoughts in my head. But then I remembered, you can't be doing that. You have I don't know what she was thinking. So, and you know how we can think a whole lot faster than we speak. And all these thoughts are going through my head, and it was pretty ugly stuff going on up here. But I ended up turning around and asking her, can I help you? Because, she just, that hurt. She paused that basket right into my rear end side. That hurt. And she was all in dither, because she, and you know what, instead of turning around, because it says right here, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So I could have turned around and started saying some things that were going on up here, because there was a lot going on up here. But instead I turned around and I said to her, did you need help? Can I help you in some way? And she was just, oh, I've never been in one of these carts before, and my husband and my leg and my this and my that, and I can't walk and I gotta shop and all this other stuff, and it worked itself out. Actually, there was an item way up here, and I'm kind of height challenged. I'm not as blessed as some people are, and those items that are way up in the top there, and she had a cane. And I said, well, since we're talking, can I use your cane so I can grab this? It was a tartar sauce or something that I wanted up there. And it was 3 bottles back, and I tried, and I just wasn't. And she let me use her cane, and I was able to scoop that bottle out. She smiled, I smiled. Of course, my backside was still hurting, but she wasn't crying. The husband wasn't huffing and puffing. I don't know who, they went their own way. I went my own way. But kept the inside voices up here, and they didn't come out here. And I know some of my inside voice, I don't know about you, but some of mine can be pretty vicious sometimes. But I try, and I've said it so many times, try is the beginning of failure. We don't try, we do. So yeah, when I say I try to keep them up here, There's times when it just kind of slips out and you can't shove it back in. You can't do that. It's once the words are said, they're there. And we talked about that crumbled up piece of paper. And those are all the ugly words, and then you pull the paper open and it's still all wrinkled up because you've hurt somebody. So think about that next time. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. It's not worth it because you don't know who they are, what they're doing, why they don't know how to use a motorized cart in Walmart. You just don't know. So let's look at number 2. The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of a fool gushes folly. God's telling you right there, if you don't pay attention to what you say, folly comes out. What is folly? Folly is nonsense, words that have no purpose. So God's telling us right there, be wise on what you say. And we're not doing this for the next person. You can think all you want about the next person. We're doing this for ourselves. Because I don't know if you've ever experienced it. I think, I know I've seen it on the internet. They call them the Karens, those silly people who are just yelling for no apparent reason. Sometimes I look at people like that and I think, really? Really, you have to get that upset about something? Well, maybe something's going on in their life. Maybe they just fought with their spouse, argued with their children. We don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. But to yell at somebody when we can't, there's really no way that we can call ourselves perfect in any way. We might do things a little bit different or a little bit better than other people. But I'm sure there's things that they do different and better than we can do. So be wise what comes out of the mouth. Let this stir up all you want. Nobody but God can hear this up here. But this, be wise on that. Number 3, the eyes of the Lord are everywhere. We all know this. I was just talking to a friend of mine about that. I said to her, you know, I don't even know when I'm sitting at home. I have no idea what's going on the highway. We have this 6-lane road with a medium running through the town. It's called Highway 27. I don't know what's going on 27 when I'm sitting at home. I don't know what's going on in the restaurants. I don't know who's at Walmart or Winn-Dixie or the gas station or who's over at someone's house or what's going on in someone's job. I don't know any of this stuff. But God does. He can see everything that everybody, there's 1 billion of us on the earth, and He knows what everybody's doing at that moment in time. And I can hardly keep up with myself sometimes. But He knows all this stuff. And it says here, the eyes of the Lord are everywhere. So think about that one. God's watching. And it says, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. So, kind of like Santa Claus with his little naughty list, his good list and his naughty list. God's like that. He sees this stuff. He knows what we're doing. He knows that we know that He knows what we're doing. So that should give you incentive. Because if you're sitting here watching this, then you're definitely a God person. So, and that one keeps me in line a lot because I think, oh, God's watching me be bad again. And of course we are on a daily basis. But with his grace and mercy, it becomes less and less, or even less and less, but maybe different. Maybe something different that we get ourselves into, because life is a series of events and choices that we make to whether or not we're going to, or if we're going to, or if we're going to, or if it stays up here. Choices. So let's look at number 4. The soothing tongue is the tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. And that goes back to lifting somebody else up. They're having a hard day, they're acting silly, they run into you with their motorized cart, or bump into your car, or jump in front of you at the gas station. They had low prices at the gas station. And I have got the thing on this side of the car, so I have to manipulate my car. So I'm backing up into a pump, and this clown comes right in front, right there. I'm like, and he just smiles and waves, doesn't move, pumps his gas, doesn't care. And what am I supposed to do? Start yelling at him? He's already got the pump in his car. Did it upset me? Oh, absolutely. Did I think of all kinds of ugly things to say to him? 100%. What did I do? I went to a different pump, because there's no sense to really start screaming at somebody at the gas pump when he's already got the pump in his car. He don't care. He doesn't care. If he cared that much, he wouldn't have zipped at the car, and he knew you could see my reverse lights. He knew. So yeah, sorry. I just started thinking about that. It was not a positive experience. But what are you going to do? Because I'm sure there's times when I bumped into people, or got in somebody's way, or cut them off. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. I'd have to go back and think about the circumstances. Let's go on to number 5. A fool spurns a parent's discipline, but whoever heeds correction shows prudence. It's very difficult to be corrected, because we all think we're right. What we do is right, what we think is right, how we do it is right, and you can't tell me how to do it somehow different. But God's constantly telling us, You have to try. Again, there's that word try. God should take try out of his and say, you will. But he knows, he probably knows us. He does know us better than we know him. So heed the correction. Maybe how somebody else does it is a better way. Because you go from point A to point B, and everybody has that space in between. A and B is different. But the end result is all the same. So if you tell somebody, I want this done, and I want it done in this time frame, and you walk away, and then come back in the time frame, and it should be done the way you asked it to be done. Don't pay attention to how it's being done, because that's micromanaging, and we don't like that. None of us do. So somebody's showing you something. They're correcting you. They're helping you. They're teaching you. Learn that, because there's going to come a time when you'll be there probably helping or correcting or teaching somebody else. Maybe grab a hold of that word of knowledge that they're sharing. Store it. And then help somebody else, or help your own self. Let's go on to number 6. The house of the righteous contains great treasures, but the income of the wicked brings ruin. God blesses us. He blesses us when we're following his path. And then when we fall off the deep end, our world falls apart. And then we wonder to ourselves, what happened? Everything was going good. Everything was going great. Now all of a sudden I'm I'm here and everything's falling apart on me. You know what, talk to God, say, what happened? Is it something I did? Or is it just a circumstance, like the circumstance Job got into? We've talked about Job before. Righteous man who ended up in the cave and everybody pointed and laughed at him because they thought that God was mad at him, but all God was doing was testing him. So is it something you did? Is it a test? Is it just a circumstance? There are no circumstances. But ask him, do I need correction here? Did I do something wrong? Can you give me a clue as to why I'm faltering in this huge cesspool of nonsense right now? Let's look at number 7. The lips of the wise spread knowledge, but the hearts of the fool are not upright. Again, that comes down to helping, lifting up, encouraging other people. Because the day comes when we need encouragement. How many times have you called a friend and said, I'm down right now, I need something. And they will lift you up and they will encourage you and they will help you. And the same is for you. To lift up people. To spread the knowledge that you've gained. Through your circumstances. Through your corrected actions. Through your knowledge that you've gained from walking with God, share that with somebody else. It's their choice whether or not they're going to listen, absorb it, use it, and keep it. That's their choice. But it's your to share that with them. Maybe something that you've gone through can help them be just a little bit easier, make life a little bit easier for them. Because storing it in here and not sharing it is, what does Proverbs tell us? It says, a heart of fools are not upright. You know, we have a day for all those people. That's April 1st. We'll do that on another day. Number 8, the Lord detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but prayers of the upright pleases him. Do you know he likes to be prayed for too? When you're praying, lift God up too. Let him know that he's important to you. Lift him up. Because blessings, it goes up and then the blessings come down. And then let's look at number 9. The Lord detests the way of the wicked, but he loves those who pursue righteousness. So he doesn't, he just, I'm sure he just sits there and rolls his eyes at us sometimes. At the foolish things we do, the unrighteous things we do, the nasty things that we do to each other, the words that we speak. He doesn't want that from us. He wants us to be upright, kind, gentle with other people. Because really yelling at somebody serves no purpose, other than it raises our own blood pressure. I know when I get upset, my blood pressure goes up, which in turn makes me not feel good. So not only have I offended somebody else by yelling at them, because you've got a way of, or we have, I should say, we have a way of destroying somebody's self-esteem with our words. And I'm sure we've all been in the situation, I know I have, where the words of somebody else have destroyed me. They hurt me. I feel hurt. I feel abused. I feel unloved. All from just some words. where if the words were, there's ways of telling somebody something without hurting their feelings. And as quickly as you can think of a situation, you can as quickly ask God to put the correct words in your mouth, so that in turn, that which you say can lift them up, and in the same way, send them on their way. You don't have to keep people in your life. You don't have to keep people around you that you don't want to. We all have these choices. However, keeping the wicked words, the unjust words, the mean words that we all say and we all think of, and you keep those inside, the inside voice. And the things that come out of the outside voice won't destroy somebody. And it only takes a minute to think about it. Actually, less than a minute. It just is, it's very quick that you can think all these things. But the lesson for today is to learn how to keep the inside voice inside our head and just let the outside voice. And if you don't know how to do it, you can always say, Lord, I'm not really sure what to do here. I'm not sure what the lesson was about. I don't know how to control my anger. I don't know how to control my voice inside. I don't know how I can rephrase words so that I'm not destroying somebody's self-esteem. And you'd be surprised how quickly thoughts will come, or how quickly God will say in your mind, oh, don't be doing that. Don't be talking like that. Don't say what you're thinking. And it's a process. It's definitely a process that all of a sudden, of course, God always gives us these suddenlies, but most of the time he gives us lessons. And the lessons that we learn are from hearing him, listening to him, reading about him. That's why he gave us the Bible. I heard a buddy of mine say the other day, basic instruction before leaving earth. I like that one. That's what the Bible is, basic instructions. And Proverbs helps us a lot. Proverbs helps us to keep what we need or what doesn't need to be said. There you go. It helps keep what doesn't need to be said. And it never comes out. And remember Tara Banks? She was a supermodel. She said one time, learn to smile with your eyes. Practice that in the mirror. Learn to smile with your eyes. So even when your smoke is coming out of your ears and your ears are beat red because you're that angry, you'll learn to smile with your eyes. And then somebody won't know if you're telling them off, lifting them up, putting them aside. But that takes dedication. That takes the want. It takes a want. And that's I want. I want to learn how to keep my inside voice inside. And I want to learn how to use my outside voice to lift people, to tell them what needs to be said without destroying them. Wouldn't that be nice if we could go, I'm not going to say a day because there's times when I don't go out of the house, so I'll say a week. There's times during the week that I have people just destroy me with words. And I have to be very careful that I don't start back. And it takes a lot for me to blow up because I try my hardest to keep my inside voice in my head. So look, when you have moments Proverbs 15, 1 through 9. And we go back over what God is trying to tell us and teach us about what to say, what not to say, and how not to destroy, but yet to lift up somebody even though we don't want to. So let's say a prayer tonight. Lord, everybody who's hearing these words, Lord, I lift them up to you. I ask you to give them special attention this week so that they can start on their journey about keeping their inside voice inside, and the words that come out of their mouth are God-approved words. God-approved words. And I say all this in Jesus' name. And I also want to thank Juanita Folsom Ministries for allowing us this time together. Without her building and her equipment, we wouldn't have this time. So we thank her. And until next time, be blessed.